So I brought up a picture of the Earth, and that red line right there in the middle, that's our equator. So why do you guys think, Bill kind of explained it a little bit, why do you think our weather right here in Florida is warmer than, say, any other place more north of us, like Canada or New York? Connie?
Because we're next to the equator, so we get more heat.
We are closer to the equator, so the sun's blasting. Here's the equator, so we're right here. So we're not as warm as the tip of South America, but we are closer than any of the more northern places. So that's why we are warmer, and that affects our seasons. Yes, Lucas?
Is that why it's barely ever cold in Colombia?
Yes, exactly, because they're right on the equator. So it very rarely gets cold right where the equator is, because that's, like Bill said, it's where the sun's hitting them directly. Kara?
Is that why we never get snow?
That's also why we get snow, and there's some other things playing into that, like the water and the tides and that stuff. But yes, because we are so close that it's just, we're getting so much direct sunlight that we don't get cold enough. And that kind of affects our seasons and how our trees and our plants grow. Like right now in fall, in northern states, their trees don't have as much sunlight, so they're turning colors, like the red and the green, or the red and the oranges and yellows when they lose the chloroform. Right now, we have plenty of sunlight, so if you look outside, all of our plants are pretty much still green, because we have so much direct sunlight.
Mrs. Jarvis has a question.
Yeah.
Australia is really close to the equator, and there is some cold there.
There is some cold there, but it's mostly down here. Oh, I'm warning. Well, we have some cold here too. It's mostly down here where it's more closer, far away. We have some cold here, just not as much as they do at the two poles, where the sun barely gets them. Like all of these areas do get some cold in their winter, just not as much as like the North and South Pole do. Lucas?
Like Alaska?
Like Alaska. Alaska's going to get way more cold and way more snow than we would ever, because they're closer to the poles and farther away from the equators. Jack?
You live in Florida. Why does
Somebody is signed.
Why does?
I forget what it's called. Can I see over here?
Yeah.
If I can find it. Where is it? Where is it? It's in the United States. Why does? Oh, it's right above Florida.
That's right. Or Florida.
Or Florida.
Jack,
Let's see.
let's not do what is up.
When you get the question and you know exactly what the question is, come back to me on that, okay? Lucas?
Was it Tennessee? No.
No. Okay. All right.
Did you guys get in the video to maybe make one of them the sun and show them how the Earth goes around?
Yeah, that's what we're also going to be drawing as well, too. So thank you for the globe. So on my next one, before we go on to that, I want to show you guys some pictures of what normal fall look like. Up top, see how I was talking about the color changes? The oranges and the yellows, and they start losing green. That's because they have less sunlight up north compared to how we're closer to the equator, so we have more sunlight, which means more chlorophyll for the plants to have. So this is what a typical fall looks like in Florida, still very green, and then a typical one in up north, where their leaves are losing color and losing their leaves. And now that we're moving into winter soon, I also did another compare and contrast of the one on the left. That one's our Florida. Our leaves are just starting to change, kind of. And then how states up north, and even Canada, have snow. Katie?
How are leaves dying and leaves not getting enough sunlight separate? How do leaves die and turn brown before turning color when they die?
Well, they're going to turn, because they lose the chlorophyll, so they start losing them. And then when they die, they fall off the tree. So they normally fall off the tree in this winter part. So in the fall, they're just losing the sunlight, and they're changing the colors from the red and the orange and the yellow. And then they lose so much sunlight in the winter because it's cold and the sun's not out, so it's not getting that warmth and the light that they need. So that's when they normally fall off the tree and die.
But I mean, how do they die on the tree before it gets cold?
They don't. I feel like it's because they're not getting enough sunlight, so they're not making food, so then they die, and that's when they fall off. Oh, you remember your question?
Yeah, why? So if Florida can't have snow, then why can Georgia have snow?
They're a little bit farther away than we are. not much, but they also don't get as much snow as anything northern.
I know they have snow because I've been.
Yeah. All right, so here's a typical spring. In Florida is on the left, and spring on the right is somewhere up north. I think it's Massachusetts. How flowers are growing. You can see that the trees are starting to get their leaves back. That's how we get the name spring. Everything's springing back to life. And then summer, typically in Florida. And then up north where everything's kind of thriving and green. All right, so that's our season changes. Now, in your guys' books, on this page, on page 6, I want you guys to do something similar like I am. To draw a big circle. Oh, camera comes broke. Big circle in the middle. That's going to be your sun, okay? And remember how Bill said that we're tilted either towards the sun or away from the sun depending on our seasons. So for each one, spring, summer, autumn and fall, and then winter, I want you guys to draw like your own little globe around the sun. Here's where the sun's going to be. I want you to draw a picture in spring of where Earth is going to be tilted. And you can just put where we're at. And I'll show an example. So he said for summer, I'll do summer. He said for summer on the globe, here we go, we're going to be tilted closer this way because we're getting more direct sunlight. Xavier, got it? Okay. So I'm going to draw, since I know that we're going to get more direct sunlight in summer, that and we're tilted closer to, our axis is tilted towards the sun, I'm going to draw my picture. It looks me kind of backwards. I'm just going to draw a circle. I'm going to put a little sign right here that says US, because that's where we are. And I know we are closer to the sun since we're getting our sunlight more. I'll put North Pole, South Pole. So I know we are right here, and we are getting more direct sunlight from the sun. And that's our axis, kind of, tilted towards it. Really bad picture. So I want you guys to take the next couple minutes and draw your globe and how you guys think it's going to be tilted either towards or away during our different seasons. I did kind of summer for us, and we're doing I did the U.S., and I want you guys to put a little dot or a little flag or something so I know that we're at the U.S. and we're pointed towards or away from the sun, okay? So take the next couple minutes to do that.